Happy New Year, Pop Girlies.
Hello.
We want to welcome you
We want to
to 20.
welcome you to 2025. Are you cleaning up bottles on New Year's Day, everyone?
Are you still
Are you
hungover?
are you holding on to the memories?
Because they're going to hold on to you. Maria, do you know what we're referencing?
No.
Boo!
Mm.
Everyone hates you! Boo! Hiss! Boo! Boo! Tomato! Tomato! No, we all love you, but that is Taylor.
Oh, okay.
Reputation closing track.
Yeah, I kind of
Really?
feel like you would love Reputation, actually.
Yes. I mean, I like most of Reputation. I think there's just maybe like two or three songs I've never heard before.
Oh, well, maybe
Hold
one of
on.
them is New Year's
Well, with
Day.
the Taylor's version, you'll get your fix.
Yeah, you'll get your
Yeah.
fix. I feel like Reputation's a very you, though, album.
I
Yeah,
liked
it's good.
most of it very much.
Good.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like a lot of my, well, I don't know, because like with Folklore and Evermore, it's hard, but like a lot of my more poppy songs that are my favorites of hers, I feel like are on Reputation.
Reputation.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, we hope you had wonderful New Year's celebrations, if that's what you're into, or if you just watched the ball drop from the comfort of your, living room on the television screen, whatever. We want to welcome you into 2025 and thank you so much for starting your year off with us because everybody's going to be listening right when this episode gets released
Yep.
on January 1st.
You want to know
Because
what I've done? Oh, go
Well, I was
ahead.
going to say everybody on the planet made their resolution for 2025 to listen to more pop
Pop
girly.
girlies, that's right. That was
Right.
Yep.
mandatory resolution or else you die.
Oh, we're back into violence.
Hey, it's going to be a rough
But
year.
I was gonna say, you know what I've done every New Year's Eve?
What?
Because I have not gone out on New Year's Eve the past 2 years, but every New Year's Eve instead, since I've been in Chicago, I've watched a Damien Chazelle movie.
Oh, that was
I
last
watched
year.
La La Land and then I watched Babylon.
Okay, what's it going to be this year? First Man.
First Man. No, honestly, maybe Babylon again.
Babylon, I feel like is a good year, a good movie to like transition years with because it's so crazy.
It's
Ugh,
so crazy. So great.
Okay, guys, are we going to get into hot track time?
Yep.
yes.
Okay, I think we should do it now. So,
Again.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go first actually because I feel like I want to. So, uh, okay.
Mhm.
I had a
2025, the year we're doing what we want to do.
yes, do what I
We're
want
doing
when I
what we
want with
want
my
with our
body.
bodies.
Oh, we're literally the same. Oh my God.
The
Uh,
two not little monsters.
I'm a little, I'm a do what you want stir. That let's just
You don't
say,
even know how big of a
Sure.
monster you are for do what you want.
yeah, I'm the do what you want. Remember when the X-Tina version came on the last Gaga night when we were at Scarlet?
Yes.
Went crazy.
Literally, probably better than like anything, actually. Well, no, best Gaga moment I've ever had at Scarlet is Brooklyn Nights. It does have to be
Oh,
the Brooklyn Nights of it all.
yeah. Yeah.
My
Anyways,
favorite, no, I have to say mine. My favorite is Shiza when Maria ran out of the
oh,
bathroom.
ran, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw someone with their paw running from the bathroom at Scarlet, and then it turned into Maria.
Washing my hands in the bathroom, and then I hear the first notes of Shiza, and I'm like, oh, God forbid, are you kidding me? I'm literally in the bathroom when the best song of all time starts playing. Are you kidding?
Well, girl, good thing you weren't on the toilet. Like, at least you were in the transition out of the bathroom.
Exactly, exactly. I would say as of late though, one of my favorite Maria moments of Maria at a Gaga night is Maria with bleached brows doing the little
Oh,
dance that Gaga does in Die With a Smile.
yeah, very good.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
iconic.
Very, very good. Okay. So I had a lot of contenders for my hot track. I've been listening to a lot of music, a lot of like different artists, and I want to highlight an artist that I haven't talked about. I don't even know if I've really ever. Well, I know I've shown some songs to I think both of you, but I know Drew specifically likes one of the songs from this album that I'm talking about. But this artist is named Samia, and it's from an album called Honey, which was released in 2022, which is honestly probably like one of my favorite albums of the decade. It grows on me every single time I listen to it. She's such an incredible songwriter and um vocalist, and her production's always super like evocative and moody. She has like a really hyper specific kind of lyrical style, which I really appreciate. And I came home yesterday from visiting my family in Idaho, and I had this moment in the airport with my favorite song in this album, which is a very heavy song. Uh, and it's pretty dark and vulnerable, but I think it's so beautiful. It's called Breathing Song, and the song is about her reckoning with sexual assault, and it is just like incredibly stunning songcraft. The storytelling and the narrative that she paints on that song is, I think, so wonderful. She sounds so beautiful, and it's just one of those songs that, like, when I heard it for the first time, like, I had to pause the album, and I just had to be like, "Oh my God!" Like it was the Laurie Metcalf and Lady Bird. Let's just sit with what we've heard. Um, it's a really incredible song, and so I mean, I don't think it's like a casual listening unless you're like me and don't produce serotonin, which then you'd listen to it at the gym. But if you guys want to like be wowed by some really incredible songwriting, musicianship, and storytelling, and just like vulnerability, um, recommend Breathing Song. And the whole album is incredible. Like the title track, Honey, is phenomenal. I know that's the one that I think Drew has liked before when I've shown it to him. So yeah, recommend. Sammy, she's just a great artist, and I hope it's been 2 years since she released her last album. So I hope she releases, well, it'll be three actually, because it's 2025. So I hope she releases a new album this year. Okay, that's mine. Who's next?
Drew, how
Drew.
about you?
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. Mine. I didn't really know what to choose, to be honest, but like a week and a half ago, I got really into this song. It's from the deluxe SZA album that she released, Lana. Um, but it's called BMF, and I literally think it's the best song that she's ever put out. I think it's so unbelievably catchy. Like it's I don't know how like it hasn't blown up in a way that like it should have. It's insane. So yeah, BMF SZA.
Nice. Well, for me, what I've been listening to lately is the playlist that I made titled LG7 Manifesto, where I'm putting all of my hopes and dreams for LG7, which will now release this year in 2025. So, naturally, the playlist does already just have a lot of Gaga in it. Like it's a lot of Born This Way, like Faye Monster Gaga. But there's also just like other things that I'm like, this has like a dark, cool, edgy, moody vibe. So some of it is like leans a little bit more into like techno or rock. Like there's like a lot of Depeche Mode I put on here and whatever. But then there's other pop songs or pop moments or things that just lean maybe a little bit more like dark pop. Not to say that the song does that all that much, but it just fit the vibe and it felt right and it's so fun. And it's actually going to be the first mention of a Pop Girlies hot track from this artist who is like pop legend icon that we haven't even mentioned once so far. So, with that being said, my hot track is Disturbia by Rihanna.
oh,
That's a great
everyone
one.
cheered. Oh
Everyone
my
cheers.
God. Pop Girly Stadium eruption of cheers.
Yeah. That is really the
Disturbia.
pinnacle song that's like when you hear it's I can't remember what it's from, but it's that audio soundbite that's like when you hear it, it just makes you want to get up and bust a move or like whatever. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
That's so LG7 coded too.
It's very LG7 coded.
Yeah.
When
So
you
it's
were
like
talking about the manifesto, I was like, this girl's getting into some lore right now.
I know. When you were like, it's a pop girl that we haven't covered. I don't know why, but Rihanna didn't pop into my. Maybe it's because she like
I
doesn't
thought you were gonna
like
say a
music
Cher
anymore.
song.
I don't know why I was expecting Janet Jackson. That's what I was expecting.
oh,
Which I
Ooh.
kind of would have gagged if you had like mentioned a Janet Jackson song because Janet Jackson's great. But
yeah.
no, Disturbia's like that's just she's that girl.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that that has to be, if not in my top three Rihanna songs of all time, like might be my favorite Rihanna song, period.
Wow.
So, so much love for that song. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Drew, do you have a favorite Rihanna song off the top of your head?
Yes. We found love.
Excellent. Excellent. Mine
Levi.
is Umbrella.
Oh,
Okay.
Like I that might be basic, but fuck the haters. No song sounds like that. Like when the sunshine we shine together, and it just when the sunshine we shine together. Told you I'd be there forever. Said I'd always be your friend. So that's the truth.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Excellent hot tracks, everyone.
Sure.
Sure.
Sure. So I think it's time to get into the album of the week.
Well, yes.
I'm so excited to be talking about this artist. We've mentioned her on Pop Girlies before, and I mean, she defined so much of 2024. I mentioned it in the end of year review episode that came out yesterday. If you haven't listened to it, shame on your family. But her explosion and ascension this year, this past year, has just been so incredible to watch. Everything that she represents, I find so important in a time where, we're about to enter a second Trump administration with him at his most vengeful and hateful. And I just think it's kind of a little scary to be a queer person right now and to be any kind of minority. But seeing like a queer woman have this kind of like success and recognition and have that with songs that are so explicitly queer, I find to be really, really moving. And on top of that, the songs are fucking incredible. So we are talking about The Rise and Fall of the Midwest Princess by Chappell Roan today. Yay, everyone. So I'm known for my lengthy backgrounds for albums. This is only on my Google Doc. This is only 3 pages and the font's big. So I actually think that's going to be pretty not a lot. Like I think the Great Impersonator one was like maybe 10 pages, and I think the Ray of Light was like, and that was like times New Roman like 12. And this is what is this font? This font is Poor Story. Uh
This one you did in Comic Sans just for fun.
well, I always my thing that okay, this is so stupid, but when I am making my Google Doc for like what I'm going to say about the album, I do it in a font to me that represents the album.
Love that.
And it's just like a little thing for myself because nobody sees these besides me.
Seriously.
Uh, but it just kind of helps me get in the mood. I enjoy world building. Let's just say that. So yeah, but because I think this is a debut album, there's not as much to kind of have to give context about. But I'm gonna like introduce her as an artist and kind of like give a synopsis of her story. As an artist and her kind of journey to this moment in her career because I think it's a pretty incredible one. And then give a little bit of background on the album itself before we get into the discussion about it. I'm also just going to kind of caveat. So, a big cultural discussion about Chappell Roan this year has been about her relationship with fame and her really like defiant stance against kind of like the negative aspects of fame and celebrity culture and the way that like stan culture specifically just kind of views musicians, but I think primarily female musicians, not really as people, as more as like objects or commodities. She has gotten a lot of attention for like pushing back against a lot of negative expectations that people have of pop stars. And I think it's incredible that she's doing that. I think it's awesome that she's making boundaries for herself. I always just hope she's been vocal about her struggles with mental health as well. I know that she's been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and has been very candid about her journey with that. And so I wish nothing but, light and love and mental wellness for her. And I think it's important that she's making these boundaries. I think she's serving as a really great role model for like all people who are going to be following in her footsteps, but specifically women. I didn't include anything in my little background for this album because to me, like that's a separate conversation. And also, I think that conversation takes away from her artistry and her talent. And that's what I'm more interested in talking about. So, like, if Drew and Maria want to like bring that up in their kind of moments, like slay, wonderful, let's talk about it. But I just wasn't really interested in like making a bullet point about it because what I'm interested about is the music and her as an artist. So just kind of a caveat in case people listen to it and it's like, why do they talk about that? It has produced amazing GIFs though, amazing memes. So thank you for that. Okay, but to get into it, so Chappell Roan was born Kaylee, girl, I don't know how to say her last name, Amstutz, I believe. What in the hell? And she grew up in Springfield, Missouri, so fellow Missouri icon like Drew. Uh,
Yes.
she grew up
Missouri icon.
in a very conservative and Christian environment, and she has said that she really struggled with that upbringing, which makes sense as a queer person, being raised in that environment. She describes in a lot of interviews that she just didn't really feel like she fit in or belonged, and that kind of manifested in her behavior. She began playing piano around age 10/11, and then by the time she was around 14 and 15, she was uploading covers of songs on YouTube and writing songs herself. And through her kind of YouTube channel and performing at various like talent shows, and then her attendance of the famous like Interlochen Arts Camp, she ended up signing actually with Atlantic Records as a teenager in May 2015. And eventually, after this, signing happened, she moved to LA. She adopted a stage name Chappell Roan for a few reasons. She said that she's never really liked her like real name, and she wanted the name to be a tribute to her late grandfather. So, uh, Chappell was her grandpa's last name. And then roan is a word taken from his favorite song, which was The Strawberry Roan by Curly Fletcher. And he died the year that she was signed. So I think that's kind of beautiful. And like it's cool that like his legacy is living on, even if people don't know it, by how, successful she is. Her initial music is very, very different from the music that she puts out now. It's a really great example of an artist like taking time to really discover their sound. So many talented people make music make a lot of music before figuring out the kind of music that they're supposed to make. And I think she's an example of that. Her initial music is very like moody. It's very Lorde-esque. I mean, it was coming out in the mid 2010s, so it's very like Tumblr pop to me. I've listened to it. I've listened to a few songs. You can tell it's like in the aftermath of pure heroin. But eventually, she met and started working with her primary collaborator, Dan Nigro, in 2018. And they started working together for a few years. And the first emergence of her like trademark sound came when the song Pink Pony Club was released in April 2020. Kind of insane that a song that really became mainstream in 2024 was released 4 years prior. Uh, Two other singles, also made with Dan, followed that before she was dropped by Atlantic Records in August 2020, which they're probably thinking that they're so fucking stupid now, but they didn't have the commercial impact that they wanted. That was a bad moment for Miss Roan because her boyfriend of 4 years broke up with her that same week. And so she was kind of just like scraping by for the next few years and kind of trying to like work however she could. In early 2021, Dan shifted focus to his work with Olivia Rodrigo on the album that would become Sour. So him and Chappell kind of like took a hiatus from their collaborations, and she wasn't able to find a collaborator that she really liked as much. And so she was kind of struggling in her, new career as an independent musician, and she actually moved back home for a bit. But in 2022, she comes back to LA, she reconnects with Dan, and she begins writing and releasing singles that would end up being on her debut album. And these songs include Naked in Manhattan, Femininomenon, Casual, Kaleidoscope, Red Wine Supernova, Hot to Go, and My Kink is Karma. She is working actively as an independent artist. She's making her own artwork. She's making her own music videos. She's, booking gigs for herself. She opens for a lot of people, including Olivia Rodrigo on the Sour Tour. Also, while she's like making this album, she's making it like close by to where Olivia was recording some songs. So like she's featured as background vocals on some Olivia songs. I think the first one that comes to mind is Catch Me Now. Is it Can't Catch Me Now? Is that what it's
Can't
called?
catch me now, yeah.
Yeah, she's a background vocal on that, which is super.
Another funny detail about their relationship is Olivia, like, they became friends because I think they probably met through Dan or whatever. But Olivia is like, yeah, I used to go to the ice cream shop where she works
Wait, that's
and
so
just hang out
funny.
with her. And I'm like, Chappell Roan would 100% work at an ice cream
Well, do you want
shop.
to know what's crazy? Literally, okay, the summer of 2023, before the release of this album, she was working as a camp counselor. There's a great
That
video.
tracks.
There's a great video like at the end of the camp, like they like make like kind of an announcement for her like album and like all the campers are cheering for her and it's very, very sweet, but it's just like kind of a testament to like believing in
Yeah.
yourself and
Well,
never stopping that
and
grind.
I think she only opened like for the Sour tour, she only got to open like one show.
Oh, really?
It was like a standalone. I think it was like there was like a show in LA or something that she added on at the end.
Oh,
And so
wow.
her opener, I don't think she, oh yeah, she had, because Gracie did the show that I went to, but I don't think she did all of it. But Chapel only did like one, I think,
Oh,
at
wow.
the
Cool.
end. So she never got to like pop off, which is
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
So
And then, yeah.
Um, well, because we're gonna get to that in a second, to the yeah, yeah. But so also during this time in 2022, she eventually signs to a new label. It's actually cool. So it's a imprint of Island Records called Amusement, which is Dan Nigro's thing. So like it's his own label. So it's a much more, I think, like hospitable environment for her. I think it's an environment that values her and encourages her creativity and gives her a lot more autonomy than her experience at Atlantic Records. So eventually, the album was released. Her debut album, The Rise and Fall of the Midwest Princess, was released on September 22nd, 2023. It received great reviews, a lot of critical acclaim upon its initial release. It has, I believe, an 85 on Metacritic. And it was named, and this is before her, blow up, pop off, but it was named as one of the best albums of 2023 by publications such as Vogue, Time, the AV Club, Billboard, and Rolling Stone. But I think the big story about this album and its release was it being such a sleeper hit. So, this was not an immediate smash, insane commercial moment. This album slowly started gaining a cult following in late 2023 and early 2024. A lot of traction, I think, primarily like on like social media, people discovering her, and then posts going viral, and then other people discovering her, and just kind of like a slow rise of recognition for the record. And then I think the big moments was first opening for the Guts tour, and getting that exposure to such a mainstream audience. Her many viral festival moments in spring 2024, specifically performances at Coachella and the Governor's Ball. And I also want to highlight her tiny desk at NPR because that was also a big moment. And then, of course, the release of her breakthrough single, Good Luck Babe, which was released in the spring of 2024. And again, that wasn't an immediate success either, but like that kind of created a perfect storm for this like rise from being like a niche internet artist to a major pop star. So the album's it's really cool because it started to slowly climb up the Billboard Hot 200 in like late spring, early summer, and it eventually reached a peak at number two, which is so cool. Like so many albums just peak their first week and then they never reach that like height again. And so it's so cool that like almost a year later, she was reaching her peak of number two, which is incredible. And also the singles that were released before the album came out started to debut and climb up the Billboard Hot 100, as Good Luck Babe was having, its huge moment being a top 10 hit. And eventually, kind of as a cherry on top, the record scored nominations for Album of the Year and Best Pop Vocal Album at the 2024 Grammys, which was so cool because as somebody who listened to the album when it came out, the day that it came out, I remember thinking like, I would love a world where like she could get a Grammy nomination, but like it's not gonna happen. Like she's not big enough. People aren't gonna look at this album. And I was hoping that like, maybe like this will kind of like set the scene for her next album to be really big. And it's just so cool that this album had the kind of meteoric rise that it did and like something that was really niche when it was released in the fall of 2023 is now, oh, and not the 2024 Grammys, the 2025 Grammys, but for the year 2024. But now it's a very strong contender for album of the year. And of course, Good Luck Babe is also nominated for a bunch of categories, but the album is nominated in album of the year and best pop vocal album. So about the album itself, It has 14 tracks. It has a runtime of 49 minutes and 8 seconds, so kind of like I think a perfect length for a pop album. And we are firmly in pop, 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 pop land. It is synthy. It is dancey. These songs are very campy. They're winking. They're infectious, life affirming, and most of all, fun. I think so much of the success of her, alongside people like Sabrina and Charlie, have just been a great representation of people craving fun in pop music. Uh, I think that's been lacking a little bit in the last few years, and it's just been really wonderful that um, people have been responding to songs that are just so fun and interesting. But there is also on the record a balance of up-tempo songs and ballads. For as fun and dancey as so many of the singles are, there are quite a few ballads and slower moments on here, which I think is interesting. Lyrically, this album is really about her queer awakening. So she began writing these songs when she was still dating men. And then over the course of making the album, which took a few years, I mean, released the first song from it back in 2020. Uh, she began realizing that she was a lesbian and began like fully stepping into that identity. So you can kind of hear that narrative arc on the record. It's kind of like stated in the opening track Femininomenon when she's like singing about like being done with like gross ass men and like she needs a femininomenon, which she needs a lesbian renaissance, and that's what she got. These songs touch on sexual desire, infatuation, and heartbreak. And the last thing I want to mention about her, I mean, I've talked about her being queer quite a bit already, but her artistry specifically is very inspired by queer culture. And I want to highlight the aspect of her that is her being basically a drag queen. I mean, she's referred to herself as a drag queen, and that her project of Chappell Roan is her drag persona. And of course, like you can see that I think a lot visually with the way that she not only just like her like makeup like on like the album cover and the album photo shoot and the music videos, but the way that like her live performances are very conceptual and she's always kind of sticking with a theme and creating new outfits and looks and stuff. And she's done a lot to uplift queer performers. Something that I think is super cool is during her past tour for this record, all the openers were local drag performers from wherever city she was performing at. So when I saw her in Chicago, there were four Chicago queens, and that was super cool. And it was like a mini drag show before the concert started, which I just think speaks a lot to the things that she thinks are important to her, both as a person and as an artist. So that's what I came up with. I think that kind of sets us up for a conversation about the record. I'm excited to hear what you guys are going to say. So let's start it off. Who wants to go first? Maria, you unmuted, so you have to go.
Okay, I will go. But yay. So I'll get us started, but I kind of want to start, Levi, where you left off a bit, because that's something I also wanted to talk about. Like, just with her identity as like a drag queen or a drag artist, I just love how throughout her insane rise to fame that she hasn't really wavered on that piece of her identity, because I feel like it's very easy, even in a space that's so inclusive, for there to still be a level of misogyny to it in a way. I mean, not to get like too intense or anything, but then it's just like, if you're a girl or a female identifying person or anything that's like, I'm gonna be a drag queen or a drag king or anything, it's just like very easy for those individuals to be undermined because they're not,
They're
what
not a
we
gay man.
consider, they're not a gay man. They're
Yeah.
not like the what fits into society's box of a drag queen. So I just love how she hasn't wavered on that piece of her identity, because again, it's just so important to her. And just again, like her brand, her project, and also just how she's like given flowers to the queens that have inspired her. I mean, she very notably said at Coachella or wherever it was, I'm your favorite artist, which is a play on Sasha Colby, where she said, I'm your favorite drag queen's favorite drag queen. So yeah, just so cool to see her, uplift everyone else with her. So very cool.
Well, and then it was also cool because Sasha Colby presented her at was it the VMAs when she performed?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
Yeah,
VMAs.
that
yeah,
was so cool.
yeah. So absolutely love that. But yes, so for Chapel in general and this album, because yeah, I obviously since her rise and with this being her like debut full album, I love how high concept like she is as a person, plus just how high concept the album itself is. I just enjoy that so much, and everything sounds cohesive, so cohesive, everything looks so cohesive, and it's like you very much understand exactly what you're getting when you look at the album cover, for example, which again is such a cool album cover. Like the face she's making is so intriguing. It's so Mona Lisa. So it's just like, ugh, I love the album cover so much. So yeah, absolutely love it. And not that the music is similar in any way, but just with her first album kind of having a like showgirl cabaret kind of vibe to it, it just very much was reminiscent to me of like Panic at the Disco's first album, which is like the vibe of that is very like crazy cabaret, whatever, and like all the music videos also give that. So it's just like it's fun that there's two artists that have become so huge and both of their debut albums are like very much saturated in this like cabaret style kind of vibe. It's just like so niche, but I think it's also just so cool. So that I enjoy quite a bit. And literally with the music itself, like this album is an instant pop Bible. Instant pop Bible. So it's just like so cool to listen to this album and be like, wow, this is literally banger after banger after banger. And especially like with all the upbeat songs, everything is just instantly instant classic, instant iconic. It's all just so incredible. Her vocal performance over the whole thing is just so incredible and kind of similar to like Caroline Polachek, just when we're talking about like artists of the recent times who are just like so talented when it comes to vocal flipping and yodeling and stuff like that. I mean, it's on most of the whole thing. I mean, like her vocal performance is just like crazy insane. So obviously it's just so fun to listen to in general, but like for like guilty pleasure, like what she does throughout the end of Guilty Pleasure is just like so impressive. So yeah, just very, very awesome that we have a new like pop vocal queen. So love that. For me personally, I'm not too much of a ballad person. So like there are a couple songs in here that I don't really go back to a whole much. Yeah, I just don't like that's not really where I gravitate to. But the ballads are really great. So like if I'm listening to it front to back, I'm obviously gonna listen to them. And that yeah, they're really incredible. I'll also say I love that we now have another like basically A-list celebrity who is a naturally curly girl, which doesn't happen very often, or you just see people with natural curls just, straighten their hair to conform. So I love that she has these beautiful natural curls that she embraces. So, and I mean with Charlie XCX too, it's the year of curly girls for 2024. So love that. So yeah, and then this album too, just so fun hearing out live in a club. I haven't had the chance to see her live so far, but very much looking forward to the day where I hopefully do. But yeah, I mean, just the how fast her music has taken to the general public is so crazy. And I remember I have a specific memory of like us being out at Scarlet and the DJ Bryce, he plays Hot to Go and then everyone does the dance and all that. And I just remember because we were right by him and I remember him just being like saying out loud, he's like, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy that everyone is like, so like, yes, we are all obsessed with her. We all know this album front to back. So again, just kind of an interesting piece of like monoculture where like in the day and age, like monoculture doesn't really exist in the way that it used to. So like every single person has heard basically all of her hits. So very cool to see that. And then really my last point is with me being the resident little monster of the group, when she gets compared to people, like she really gets compared to Gaga the most, gets like Gaga daughter allegations, conspiracies the most, which I completely understand as a Gaga stan. But I will say, and I think this for the most part for most artists, but I'm like, I don't think it's super necessary to compare her to specifically to Gaga, but like really to anybody. I feel like we haven't seen someone come to fame so fast in this day and age of social media. Because I mean, like, sure, there's Sabrina Carpenter, but like she was also on Disney Channel. Same with Olivia Rodrigo. She was on Disney Channel. We love Gracie Abrams, but she also is the daughter of a very famous director. So it's like, I don't think we've really seen such a meteoric rise of someone who like genuinely started at like, you know, started from scratch, if you will. So, I mean, like, not to literally compare, like, to go against my own point, but like, Gaga did do that. But I think it's just such a different thing. It's such a different
Oh,
thing.
it is different. Yeah, it is different. And also like, Gaga grew up in the Upper West Side. Like,
Right.
girl, she comes from Missouri.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like it's so different. And I mean there are parts of it where it's like, yes, I understand this and I do see the parallels for sure, especially since they're like just so like not that they're like so crazy kooky out of the box like no one understands them, but it's like they're not the like, they're not like super, I don't know. They are out of the box in a way. So it's like I get it, but
I also think a lot of it is like people's inability to like take in like new information or new artists just in their own terms. They constantly have to like contextualize them with what's already happened. I mean, Gaga went through the same thing, obviously, because like
yeah.
when she came out, everybody was like, "Oh, she's the new Madonna. She's the new Madonna.
Right.
She's the
Yeah.
new Madonna." Um, and I think like those kind of comparisons, I think are very damaging. I mean, I know
Yeah.
that Madonna and Gaga had like a very contentious relationship for like years afterwards, which I feel like they wouldn't have if there hadn't been that like comparison made. I mean,
Yeah.
who the hell knows what's happening with Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo? Like, that's we need the CIA on that. I think I know, but that's because Taylor
Yeah.
texts me. So, it's I just think it's not necessary. Like, I get like there's a level of theatricality, and like to me, it's like Gaga also has that quality of like let's put on a show. Like, she's an
Yeah.
entertainer in the way that Chappell is as well, but their music really isn't similar. Like, if you
No.
just listen to the albums, like the first pop album that I would compare The Rise and Fall of the Midwest Princess to is not The Fame. It's
No.
honestly not any Gaga album. Gaga doesn't have an album that sounds like this.
No, not at
I would
all.
love it if like LG8 sounded like this. It would be very
Sh-
slay.
She
Yeah.
gives me a lot more Katie, to be honest.
She doesn't give me Katie. Sabrina
Oh,
gives me more Katie than I don't I understand where you're coming from, but to me they're too different.
Well,
I,
because I know you were talking about like the upbringing being a huge part of it.
yeah. I guess
And
yeah,
I
that
feel like they
similarity.
did have similar upbringings. And I know like when she was first starting out, like a lot of, and obviously this isn't the music, but a lot of the fashion that she was doing, she was comparing it a lot to like the campiness and cheekiness of like Katie's costumes.
I mean the
yeah.
level
Like
of
I was
camp
gonna
definitely
say,
and like winkingness is very
Yeah.
Katie.
yeah, like I think like Chapel's like strain of camp is like I think leans a little bit more Katie than it
Yeah,
does Gone Away. But
agree.
but then it's like what you said earlier, Levi, where it's like with new like male musicians or male group acts or bands or whatever, they don't get compared to acts of days past in the way that any sort of female musician does. So it's like Chapel Gaga, whatever, whatever, and it's like, okay, no one's like, dang, this new rock band is the new Foo Fighters. It's like, well, and who cares? No one says that. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, it's because society only wants like a select amount of women to be successful, but there's an unlimited amount of men that are allowed to be successful.
yeah, exactly.
Which sucks because men are boring as pop stars. No one wants that unless you're gay.
Right.
Sorry, it's the truth.
Yeah. So that's my take though. That's all the stuff I wanted to say about Miss Chapel and the rise of our Midwest princess. But yeah, I mean, literal pop Bible, it's so cool to have like I mean, like you said, it's kind of like a sleeper hit, but once it hit, like instant pop Bible. And that just I feel like hasn't happened in so long in such a crazy mainstream way.
Well, and the cool thing too is I feel like that happened twice this year because to me, like short and sweet is also like that. Like short and sweet to me is going to be looked at from years from now as like an iconic pop era. I mean, it is so crazy to have three singles have the amount of success that Espresso, Please, and Taste have had. And like in a way, I guess this is maybe just me contextualizing it. Like for me, it's like, okay, if not to do what we literally just said is bad, but like if Gaga is, if Chapel is the Gaga, then like Sabrina is the Katie. Like that, like the I guess the winking humor and like the kind of horniness of Sabrina reminds me more of Katie. But anyways, regardless of that, I think it's very cool that I think we're gonna look back at 2024 and it's gonna be multiple iconic pop eras in the way that a year like 2008 was with the Fame Monster and One of the Boys and I Am Sasha Fierce and Good Girl Gone Bad and Fearless. Like it's really really cool because we don't live in monoculture anymore and that kind of stuff just doesn't happen as much.
Yeah.
Also to transition to Drew, wasn't Katie like a really early like supporter of Chapel? Like I feel like I heard Katie talking about Chapel before the
Yeah.
huge success started.
Yeah, because it was I remember it was the she did that series with Mo Hart, the drag queen, where Mo Hart on Amazon like goes through all of the costumes. Have you guys
Katie
watched that?
did?
Yeah, Katie and then Chappell did it too.
Oh, I well, first of all, I didn't know that that series existed.
Yeah, it's like through Amazon. But Mo went to play the Katie
Oh,
residency and
cool.
then they did the costumes from that. And then I don't know what was released first, but Chappell did one and she was talking about how all of her costumes were like um she was just really inspired by Katie's costumes. Um at least I think. Yes, I think that's what happened. And then I think that's how they were kind of linked. But the Chapel one, it was like it was like right when the album came out. She had not gotten to like the level that she was at yet. Because that's how I had found out that she did had drag queens open for her. Um
Oh, got it.
was that um, and yeah, it was really cool because Mo Hart is from Kansas City, and so they were able to like talk a lot
Missouri.
about that.
Cool.
So yeah,
Okay, well,
yeah.
on
Do you
that
want me to get into my thoughts?
on that Katie Cat note, I want the resident Katie
Yeah,
Cat of the world to give his Midwest Princess
yeah.
back. You're because you're also a Midwest Princess.
I am. I
I
am.
actually am with two Midwest princesses. I'm not a Midwest princess. We are two. There's two of them amongst us.
Hmm.
I'm a Rocky Mountain count, or like a like a
Okay, Nosferatu.
like a Pacific Northwest jester. Like I'm not a Midwest princess.
Okay. Cool.
Joker.
Oh, not that.
Well, my first exposure to the album actually it comes from the cover. Um, so I remember exactly where it was. I was leaving work, and it was like the week it had come out. And I was looking on Spotify and it was like kind of giving me like a suggested thing to listen to. And this was on there and I was looking at it and I was like, where have I seen this cover? Like it was such a great, it's so striking, but it's so good and it gives you exactly what the album is about. And I was like, ah, I'm gonna listen to this. But it was like from the moment I saw it to the moment I pressed play, I was trying to think, where the hell have I seen this cover? And then I was listening to it and Femininomenon just it took me on the bus. I was like, this is everything that I've ever heard. And I was like, oh my God, Levi would love this. And there was like, fuck, this is where I saw the cover. Because Levi had posted it on his story. I was like, oh, this is where I found it. So yeah, that's my story. And then I remember texting Levi about it, and he's like, oh my God, yes, I'm going to her concert like in a week. Um, so yeah, that's my exposure to it. But it was a crazy listening experience. I like fell in love with it so hard. The whole thing, it's so amazing. Yeah. I find her vocal performance on it like so striking. I and that's where to me she differentiates herself from any pop star. Like for me it's in her vocal performance and not necessarily like because, like, unfortunately, like, if you're a pop artist, a female pop artist, kind of coming onto the scene as an entertainer and a performer, you're, like, going to be compared to everyone. But for me, when you actually listen to her music, her vocals are unlike anything else that I've ever heard before. So that's where I find she really excels. Um, So yeah, had an amazing time all fall of 2023. I was like blaring this, and then I got to see her open for Guts. I went to the Chicago show for that, and I was really looking forward to it. And I I like how I fell in love with her was through the vocals, and I think I wasn't as taken by her vocals live. Um, I could have just been like singing it on and off time, but I was like really, and this was also before she really popped off with the whole festival circuit that she was doing and like all of that, and I'm sure she has gotten a lot better. But that was something that I was like, oh, but also like it was probably one of her first kind of moments. And also Levi had the opportunity to see her like in a theater setting, which was probably a lot more intimate and a lot better when she was like headlining. But yeah, so that was a moment that I was kind of like, okay, well maybe she's not like everything to me, or maybe I just need to like take a break and let it marinate. Um and then I got to like see her pop off in all of like the festival things and yeah, just be a really cool performer. Um so yeah, I'm interested to see like if I were to see her again, if it was be something that I would be like really taken by. But that doesn't like diminish anything from this album for me at all. Like this is like one of the best like debut albums I think that will go down in like pop history. And I think it really goes to show like with the up-tempo songs that are just so catchy that you can't get rid of. But then also like the ballads that are just like so gorgeous, but then also like so um like just so relevant to the gay experience, which is another thing that no pop female has really shown us. I mean, Gaga's been out as like a queer artist, but that it hasn't really shown in her music as much as something like this. Um, yeah. This is like an unmatched kind of thing for me. I don't think anything compares to this in a way. But yeah, those are really my thoughts. And then Good Luck Babe, we kind of talked about, was just something that, um, yeah, I
Yeah.
listened to. I think the day it came out, like probably like 80 times.
Smash,
So
smash, smash.
smash, yeah.
Yeah. Smash,
So yeah,
smash,
really
smash.
excited to see what she does next. Yeah, patiently waiting for that. And I think for Grammys, like I know Levi touched on that she's nominated for a few. I definitely think she's going home with new artists, but I'm kind of interested to see if she picks up anything else.
I think she'll be picking up at least.
You
I,
think?
I kind of do. Yeah, I do. I really do kind of. I kind of think she's gonna win Song of the Year. I think.
That would be slay. I am a little nervous for Miss Gaga because they love Mr. Bruno.
Yeah. I mean, pop duo at least for Die with a Smile.
I definitely think that's gonna happen.
Well, actually, I mean, it's gonna be Us by Gracie Abrams featuring Taylor Swift.
Right.
Maria,
Right.
if that happens, are you kicking me off the podcast?
If that happens, I'm just gonna quit the podcast.
No, don't.
No,
JK.
I'm wondering like it's so hard because there are so many contenders, like strong contenders,
Yeah, it could go so many different
and
ways.
everyone has been nominated for like everything. So it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's hard to predict where because I do feel like it has to be like a spread the wealth situation. Like if it's not,
Yeah, it would be a disservice if like somebody sweeps. I don't
yeah,
want there to be a sweep.
I don't either.
But
Um,
I really kind of also I see a world where this wins album of the year. I kind of do.
really, I could see it winning pop vocal for sure. I don't
I
know. I'm
I
still convinced
really
it's Brat.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of my mind is fried about it because I've kind of flipped
Yeah.
back and forth on it so many times, but there's something about like it potentially winning album of the year that reminds me actually a lot of Fearless and its win as kind of this like huge breakthrough moment for such a specific artist that was kind of like unlike anything else that we were hearing and kind of like a coronation in a way. And I also think that like, Short and Sweet is an incredible album, but I do think like that album is defined so much by like the singles, which is no shade to the album because the album is amazing, but almost like with Good Luck Babe not being on Rise and Fall, I feel like Midwest Princess gets viewed so much as an album where I could see that being I don't know. I mean, I also think is Charlie or Beyonce. I don't know, but I think it's a very strong chance that Chappell gets album, and I would be cheering.
It would be weird that like she would win new artist and then not win anything else.
Yeah, it's just that just doesn't make sense to me, especially because I
Yeah.
think that like Sabrina's gonna walk away with like at least one,
Yeah.
two. So it wouldn't make sense for Chappell just to get new artist.
Yeah. Agreed.
I
Oh,
don't know.
it's hard. I don't
It
know.
is. This is a hard year, and it's hard because like people are gonna go home like empty-handed probably.
Yeah.
Taylor.
I don't know.
Well,
Part of me wonders if she's gonna win Song of the Year. Like if it's not Die with a Smile.
if Fortnite wins Song of the Year, I will buy everyone a lot.
Or like maybe she wins pop vocal. I don't know.
I don't know. I think she's. I think if she wins anything, I think it's gonna be music video.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
keeping my
She'll win
expectations
that.
low. Um, because I survived the 2014 Grammys with
Yeah.
random access memories, and I'm never hoping for anything ever again.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Okay.
do you have anything else to add?
No.
Okay, cool. So, we talked about this early on in the show. I think this was the art pop episode because I talked about like being an early supporter of Chapel, and then Maria one-upped me and revealed, was it 2022 or 2021?
2022.
2022, because I discovered in 2020. Wait, but I discovered in 2022. I thought yours was 2021.
No, mine was like August 2022.
Okay, because
Uh,
mine was like end of 2022, early 2023. I think it was January, so it would have been 2023. Um, yeah, I discovered this through I discovered Chapel through one of my old roommates, Rin, who shout out Rin, love you very much. And Rin is queer and has a lesbian playlist that they would play a lot when we'd be like working from home together because we both worked remote. And uh, I heard Pink Pony Club for the first time, and literally my spine straightened. It was so erect, my eyes widened, my mouth was agape, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, it is that I was astounded by it. I was like, how is this not the biggest artist in the world? Like, who who is making songs like this? And then slowly, like, because Ren knew more of Chapel than I did, and so, you know, Ren kind of like showing me things that Chapel had already released, and then like her and I listening to songs that like we both hadn't heard for the first time in the lead up to the album was so cool because like that experience of listening to Pink Pony Club was replicated every single time I listened to a new Chapel song. When I listened to Casual, I was speechless for maybe 5 minutes. My Kink is Karma was crazy first time listening to that song. Red Wine Supernova, getting to hear that chorus for the first time, I was like, oh my God, what is happening? It was just like hit after hit. I mean, you know those like Costco guys on TikTok that are like, boom, boom. I mean, it was big boom after big boom after big boom after big boom after big boom. I mean, it literally was just like another one, another one. You know that it's that video of like another one, thank you, another one, thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, it was that, and so it was cool getting to anticipate the album, and I listened to it when it came out, and yeah, I mean, it's a pretty immediate smash for me. There's so many things I love about this album. I love the production. I think this might be my favorite Dan produced project. He's produced a lot of albums that I like both like to love, and has produced a lot of songs I love. He's worked with a lot of artists that I love, but
It's
this
my second, I think.
after what?
Super Ache.
Oh, good one, good one.
Good. Good.
But just the production on here, it's so textured in a way that I find so intriguing. I mean, there's so much synthesizers happening, but the synths never feel flat or like phony. They always feel very rich and lived in and like exuberant. I love you can listen to there's a lot of like acoustic guitars kind of like sprinkled in as texture, which I find interesting. Like I love on such a bombastic pop moment of Red Wine Supernova, we get like the stripped down moment on the chorus with the acoustic strumming. I think that's just absolutely lovely. I think there's so many inventive choices on the production side throughout the entire record. I'm constantly engaged. And it sounds so specific and so unique. There's so many specific like touch points and vibes. There's nothing generic to me about the sound at all. I want to highlight the songwriting on this record because I think so much has been made about Chappell's persona on stage, visually, her vocals, like both Drew and Maria have mentioned. But what got me was the songwriting. Like, and I know that that's just like the kind of listener that I am. Like, that's what hooks me and kind of determines if I like something or not. But I'm astounded by her as a songwriter. I think she's an incredible melodist. The melodies that she comes up with, hook after 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 hook. I mean, it's constant hookery. And then she's a great lyricist. She's incredibly smart. She is super specific and is able to describe feelings that are so specific yet relatable in such an incredible way. There's so many moments on the record where she like really like kind of like tells a story. I think Feminine is an example of that. Casual is an example of that. Um, there's like a kookiness to her presence lyrically that I find really interesting. Like there's moments that she says stuff that I'm just like not expecting. Like the part in uh Picture You when she's talking about like being a librarian and like the person's hometown, like doing research. I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? But like I love it. I just think she's a really incredible writer, and I'm just constantly like surprised by the imagery that she uses, her way to like really like have a punchy, evocative phrase, which I think is so important to pop music. And then vocally, yeah, she has such a unique vocal tone, and the way that she does like the flip yodels things that Maria mentioned, is just so interesting. I also love like her use of like cheerleading chants. I'm such a sucker for a cheerleader pop song. Like that is one of the easiest ways to get me gagging. Is
Except for Peacock.
Well, because that's not a cheerleader. That's a demon sent from hell to torture
Right,
me.
right, right.
Uh, remember, Drew, I gave Teenage Dream a higher score than Maria. Just want to say that. Uh, sorry, Maria, threw you under the bus. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, but like I love the chants on this album. I love like the like talk moments. There's a lot of like spoken word moments that I think are really interesting. Like her like breathless after Hot to Go, or her like doing like a voicemail on the beginning of Naked in Manhattan, I think is really, really cool. Obviously like the intro verse of Super Graphic Ultramodern Girl is really fun. I just love like talk spoken moments in pop songs. And something else I want to talk about with the construction of the album is I think it's paced really, really well because there is like such a, I mean, the upbeat, like high energy moment of Hot to Go is like so worlds away from the very like down tempo, gentle piano of a song like Coffee or Kaleidoscope. But the way that the album is sequenced, those transitions never feel jarring to me. Like I always, when I'm craving a big pop moment, it happens. And then when like I've like danced through and I'm starting to get a little sweaty or a little tired, then like a ballad comes. And there's a natural pace to it that I find really, really good. There's also moments where like there's like storytelling happening with the sequencing. I think an example of that is Coffee into Casual, which is something I always love because it's like they're describing kind of the same situation, but like sequentially, which I think is really, really cool. It's a great, top to bottom in every aspect. I think it's a really phenomenal pop record. And most of all, what I find so impressive about it is so fully formed. You know, a debut album for so many artists is it's their first time making a record and it's their first stab at coming up with an identity, coming up with a sound, coming up with a point of view. And, you know, normally like a good debut, like shows a lot of potential and there's like moments of greatness, but like, and then like you get excited to see like what they're going to do next. And obviously I'm so excited to see what Chappell is going to do next, but it is so genuinely rare for an artist to come swinging right out of the gate with a debut album that is so fully formed in every single possible area. Obviously the music is incredible, but there's such a defined and distinctive personality and point of view that she's singing from. The second that the album starts, you know what a Chappell song is. I know what I'm getting in for. I know who she is as an artist. I know the kind of person that she is as she's portrayed in her songs. I know her sound. I know what inspires her. I know her genre touch points. And it's so rare to have that right out of the gate. Also, visually, like both Drew and Maria have mentioned, such an incredible album cover immediately tells you everything you need to know. So arresting. Uh, but then you also get that through the performances and you get that through the music videos. Literally every single, there's such a sense of world building that I think is incredible. Something that she did during her tour is each tour date like was a different theme and the themes were based in songs. So when I went to it, it was Pink Pony Club. And so like everybody was wearing like pink cowboy western inspired outfits. I like found this like crazy, I don't know how this shirt exists, but I found this like I don't know if it's a really long shirt or like an odd dress, but it's like this like long button up thing that has collared and it's like a pink bandana print, but it has like rhinestones all over it. It's a bizarre thing that was like literally like made for Pink Pony Club. But that like level of like fan engagement, I think is so incredible. And like the fact that she was so savvy enough to like come up with a hot to go dance and have that be another element of world building. It's so rare for an artist to feel so fully formed and to have lore and to have a mythology and to have a world right away on the debut record. The last time I felt this way was in 2020 with Rina Sawayama's debut album, Sawayama. That was the last time that a debut album really just like took my breath away and was like a gut punch. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the record. I think it's pretty incredible, and I'm just so happy that she's having this moment. Like Drew said, her defiance and like refusal to tone down her queerness as she's gotten more successful, her doubling down on her identity and what's important to her, uh, I find very powerful. And I love how unapologetic she is. I love how empowered she is. It makes me feel empowered. It makes me feel stronger. So, yeah, just so happy that this moment has happened for her. And unless anybody has anything else they want to say, are we ready to get some Holy Trinities up in here and some me's up in here? Okay. So let's do our me's first. Maria, what's your me?
Yeah. Well, as I said before, um, ballads aren't really my thing all that much. So it's tough because there isn't really like a hierarchy of like the ballads on this album that I like or dislike. I'm just like, which one am I probably like the most likely to not choose to listen to? And yeah, I don't know. That's just the way that my brain works a bit. It kind of bums me out because I'm like, I know that a lot of these ballads are really great. It's just not what I re enjoy listening to all that much. But I think with that being said, I'd probably revisit Coffee the least. So just for that, I'm gonna say it's my me. I know that like is kind of disappointing, but that I think is it's the melody that maybe I don't re like it doesn't stick out in my brain of like, oh, that's like an iconic melody. Because I feel like all of her ballads have really iconic melodies, but maybe that one for me is just like it kind of fades into the background the most. But again, all of her ballads are really spectacular and she sounds great on all of them, but it's just not my particular cup of tea. So that's what is my me.
It's not your cup of coffee.
You got
Oh,
me there, girl.
because you like espresso.
Right. I'm a latte. So
Yeah.
I need the espresso, not
Yeah.
just the plain coffee.
You need
So
that me espresso.
yes, exactly.
Okay, Drew, what's your me?
So there were two that I was like debating on between my me, and then one of them I was like, okay, this is probably like thinking about it being my me. I was like, okay, this doesn't really work as a me because it has such a place on the album and it differentiates itself so much in her vocal production. So I wasn't gonna choose that. This one is just one that I do not vibe with. But I know that a lot of other people vibe with it, so it's fine. But my me is After Midnight. Don't like that one.
That's
You've
But
so
that's
always
the
been
only one that I
you've
will
always
like
been that way.
fully skip. I'm like, this is one. It's just not for me.
That song is so fun. I mean, like, I guess I kind of get it, but I love that song. But then
But
again,
it's so
though, it didn't
fun.
crack my
But
top three. So
like, okay, it's fun. But wouldn't you so much rather be listening to like eight of the other songs?
Well,
You know?
Maria wouldn't want to listen to the ballads.
Oh,
so
right, right. No, I mean like to like dance to. You know? Just thought.
I guess if we want to argue on the detail, well, not argue because we're not arguing, but the like I would say maybe After Midnight is more of like a bedroom pop kind of little dance, where everything else is like club material.
Yeah.
Which is funny
Okay,
because
no,
After
okay.
Midnight is explicitly about being at the club. That's just kind of funny.
Right.
Yeah.
I just love the silence, like, okay, no one has an opinion. Next.
Well, I was processing. I was
Yes,
taking
yes, yes.
Yeah.
information.
No, you're
I
right.
was
You're right.
reviewing
Like
it.
After Midnight is like something that I would fold laundry to, maybe.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
But like,
okay, Pop Girly Nation, stay tuned because Drew's gonna be making a songs that he does his laundry to playlist.
yeah,
Need that.
sure.
Honestly, need that. Please
It
make
just like her other because I think a lot of people consider After Midnight like a bop, right? And I feel like all of her other bops are just like so much better. I don't know.
Okay. I'm gonna be Drew Warrior because my me is also After Midnight.
Okay,
it.
okay.
Oh, OMG. I didn't see
Yeah.
that coming like at all.
The, the way you said that was really funny. Uh, yeah, it just I don't I like it. I think I like it maybe more than Drew does, but it's not. It's the one I revisit to the least. Um, my bottom two, because I also kind of had a hard time choosing between.
Wait,
Um,
what was your other one?
it's I feel like it's a I know it's a fan favorite, and I don't want to be crucified, but
Okay.
it's super graphic ultra modern girl.
Okay.
Those are my I really like both of those songs, and they obviously are important to the album. I think like I don't think After Midnight's a skip, but it's not an album. It's not a song I listen to out of context. I
Yeah.
only listen to it when I'm playing the album from start to finish. It's all the other songs I've gone back to individually, and I just haven't with After Midnight. I think the
Do you
melody
want to?
doesn't grab me the way that other songs do. Kind of like what Maria was talking about with.
Yeah. Do
So
you want to know what my other one was? You're gonna
what?
be so mad. It was Kaleidoscope.
You should die.
I think because it's just so fucking sad. But her vocals in that song, like you can't, like it's not even you can't skip it. Like how could you fucking dare, you know?
One of the hardest I've ever cried at a live performance was watching her perform that. There's a very
Yeah.
funny picture of me because I like kind of like went silent and catatonic, and then Rin like taps me on the shoulder, and then I just like turn to her, and like my entire like my glasses are fogged up, my like face is like drenched wet, and I'm just like, She talked about at the concert that like that song was written about her first relationship with a woman, which I know like a lot of like lesbians or like sapphics just in general talk about like that first experience being so like intense and that heartbreak that can follow it being really really painful and it was just so vulnerable and so moving. I love that song, but I get that like it's a slower song, it's a slower burn. I understand that,
Yeah.
but you're
Okay.
wrong. Uh,
Okay.
okay, Holy Trinity, Maria.
Yar. Okay. So my number three is My Kink is Karma. That for me, when I was listening to the album for the first time, was the first one that I hadn't heard before that really was like, whoa, this is so infectious. I love the way that song sounds, and I love just like the song structure in general. So love it. So good. And then my number two is going to be Femininomenon. Um, I also had a dance to this one for my dance class, and it was so much fun. But yeah, I think it's also just like such a cool album opener, and I love like the moto the motorcycle influences on the song. Like I love how there's just like you can hear an engine rev and it's just like so much energy. So it's so fun to hear live and just dance to in general. So like love, love, love. So much energy. And then actually, my number one song is going to be Super Graphic Ultra Modern Girl.
Oh,
Hmm.
Oh.
But I mean, yeah, this one's I think always been my favorite. It's so much fun. I love the spoken word intro and I love how the song builds. And I also just love like the synthy bass line that's in it. Like that is like the biggest earworm for me on like the whole album is like the boom 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 boom. And like I love that so much. So that's my favorite and the lyrics are so funny and it's just so like fun, cute, camp, whatever. And I think it's just also like it has such like an independent kind of vibe to it of like, yeah, like whatever, I don't need these crappy guys. I'm gonna go do my own thing and just have fun. And I just like love that as a motto in general. So yeah, that's my favorite song.
Levi, at your concert, did she talk about going on a date at a Chili's before she sang it?
No, she was talking about her mom.
Oh, okay. For she before she sang it at the tour that I went to, she was like, "Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you about this like really crazy date. I went to like Chili's in Missouri, and we went and the and I was talking to my friends, and I was like, I don't know, like, should I go? And then she did the spoken word at the beginning, and then
Yeah,
went
she
into
did.
the
It's
song.
the same thing that she did. She was just talking about her mom, but it's the same. Like she does that like
Oh,
snap
okay.
into the song, which is so
Oh,
good.
okay, okay. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It goes hard live. It goes so hard.
Yeah, it does go hard, yeah.
Oh,
Okay, Drew.
Cool. My top three are for sure like set in stone. I just had such a hard time choosing the order. Um, but my number three, I think this is what I'm gonna decide on. My number three is Naked in Manhattan. I
You
love
love Naked in
Naked in
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
You do.
I've never like wanted to go skip on the street more than when she comes in with that it's the last chorus when she does the little ad-libbing over the touch me baby.
Hmm.
I literally every time I listen to it I'm like, well, I have to be skipping around in the street to like fully enjoy this. Like it's insane. Um my number two is Casual because I don't think I need to really explain. That chorus, girl.
Knee deep.
Yeah. There's also nothing like this. I think it was my number one for a really long time because there's like nothing like listening to it like when you haven't listened to it in a long time. Like it's one of those you can come back to and like,
Can I ask a
yeah.
question real quick? Because
Yeah.
Maria, I would classify this as a ballad, but I know this is also like a huge fan favorite in a way I think a lot of the other ballads aren't. Like, where does this fall for you?
For me, honestly, I don't really see casual as a ballad per se. I don't really know why, but like for it just feels like it has a little bit more of it fe like not that it feels like faster paced, but it feels like it has a little bit more of like a movement behind it that's like constantly propelling it forward.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel as much of like not like a park and bark in a negative context, but like or oh my God, context. But it feels like it yeah, it has a little bit more of like an engine to it.
Got it.
It's
So
that build.
yeah.
And it's also
Ugh.
it has
Locked you in the bathroom.
it has a thicker production as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sorry, I was just curious.
Yeah.
No, you're good. And then my number one is Feminine Phenomenon. Yeah. From the moment I heard it, I was like, I actually listening to it on the bus. I remember I listened to it and I was like, well, we're not moving forward until we listen to Feminine Phenomenon like 10 more times. So yeah, I listened to Feminine Phenomenon like 10 times and then digested the rest. Yeah, it's unmatched.
Okay, cool. Uh, my three is to me, it's like the bridge between the two halves of the album, the super dancey, upbeat songs, and then the ballads, and that is Guilty Pleasure. First of all, to me, that song opens and it sounds like it's from Coraline. Like the vocals on it, it sounds like a Coraline song, which it already makes it the greatest song of all time. And then I love the chorus melody of it so much. Like I Want You Like a Cigarette to me is such an incredible pop lyric. And then like Maria talked about like her vocals on it are just so crazy. Yeah, I love, and that was the one out of all the songs I hadn't heard yet. That was the one listening to the album for the first time that I was like, oh my fucking God. Yeah, I adore that song. My number two is Pink Pony Club. I'm kind of surprised that this one isn't in either of yours, to be honest, because to me, this is like I know Good Luck Babe is her big breakthrough hit, but I kind of want this to be her signature song because I love it so much. And like, there's just something I think I relate to it so much, and there's such like it captures this feeling of being like a queer person and leaving like growing up in a rural environment or a conservative environment, not feeling like you can be yourself and moving to a city or like being in an urban environment and like going out and feeling like queer joy for the first time and like feeling like you could truly be yourself and express yourself in a way that you never have been able to before. Like it is so emotionally resonant for me. And then also, I'm sorry, I think it's maybe the best pre-chorus of all time. Like it's girl, God, what have you done? You're a pink pony girl and you dance at the club. It's poetry. And then my number one is Casual. I think this is her all too well. Like Casual is just she's that girl. Uh, it's astonishing songwriting. And honestly, I kind of think it's very Taylor. I mean, Taylor would never talk about getting eaten out, but at least that plainly. But because false god does exist, but the structure of it, the melody of it, the lyricism is very Taylor for me. And interesting, when that song was released in the fall of 2022, Chappell actually like made a TikTok like trying to like kind of like capitalize on like Taylor mania around like Midnight's release, being like, I just released a new song and it's like Taylor Swift inspired, like you should like listen to it. Which is kind of funny. Uh so yeah, but that's my top three. And it's a pretty my four and five are like very, very close to my top three, but I just this moment I was feeling guilty pleasure, but it was close race. So that's what I'm feeling about it. Are we
Yay.
ready to break out the utensils?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I need some fork
Two
puncturing.
fork. Yeah. So this is like a big one for me. Um, I'm gonna go in 9.5.
9.5. Slay.
Hey, well, I'm going to follow that with a 9.1.
Slay.
And then I, God, what am I going to do? Hmm. I'm doing a 9.2.
Love.
Love.
Okay. This is going to have a high average. It has an average of 9.26.
I mean, like it just
It's that girl.
Yeah.
is
I
that girl.
think anything underneath a nine is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like, even like an
For me, like
8.8,
the
I'd be like,
only
what are you doing?
I'm like for me the only miss is like after midnight. And I'm like, dang, it's like but it's not like a bad song. It just like I don't think it just lives up to the rest of it.
Well, and it's just like not your taste, but that doesn't mean
Yeah,
it's
but
not
I know a lot
good.
of people like it, so I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, it could have been higher, but
Okay. So
okay.
that's the Midwest Princess. We love you, Chapel. And if you're listening, I know you're a Pop Girlies Nation member. We'll see you at the stadium when it's built.
Yes.
We'll book you.
Yeah. She'll
And
go.
me, Maria, and Drew can be the local drag queens who were performing before.
Yes.
Maria can bleach her eyebrows.
No, we'll get Shea Coulee.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Let me call her up.
I'm sure she'd be interested.
Why
Or
don't you
Jinx.
call Shay up?
Who else is like a
Why don't you
rich
call Shay?
drag queen?
Alex,
Trixie
we can...
Mattel.
Wait, my boyfriend.
Yes, Alex.
Yes,
Coquette.
Alex. Wait,
Coquette.
actually, JK. Alex is the only opener
Yeah,
Yeah.
Coquette. Well,
Yeah.
I also want Maria to open. I'm sorry. I do need a Maria
in
cut
bleached
crease.
brow.
Yeah.
If I were to do a drag show, what songs would you guys want me to do?
Well,
Just
I
Gaga
think
medley.
Just,
but I also want you to do Super Graphic Ultramodern Girl. I do want you to do that.
oh, that would be everything.
I need you to reenact you hearing Shiza at
Yeah.
Scarlet. Like that needs to be like the number. Like
Well,
you need to
what
be in
it
a
is
bathroom
like,
and then
yeah, it starts. Well, to me, like it starts like she's actually in the bathroom. There's a camera, and then it's like her running, and then she
yes,
emerges
with the
like
pop-ups through
yes,
the
and then she
audience.
emerges on the first chorus, through like a stand, and then she like walks through the field, and
I
then
get followed around with a camera like it's like Maury or
no,
something.
literally, and then you end on stage for the final chorus, and then you do
What
your
is she
performance.
wearing with the bleached brow? Like I think she's wearing the 911 Chromatica ball outfit. Like the black
Oh, she's
with the
definitely wearing.
hat.
I kind of think she's wearing. I kind of see her in like Disease music video.
Which one? Like which outfit from
Full
Disease?
disease garb.
The one when she's in the tornado with the long hair.
Oh,
And it has my favorite makeup look of the
oh, with the eyebrows and the lips.
yeah,
Yeah.
the crazy eyebrows and lips. Like something like that I think would be so slay.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what you wear to the imminent LG7 tour. Because you're not just gonna go plain.
No, you
No.
can't.
Because for Chromatica, I only had like 20 hours to prepare. So I was plain Jane at Chromatica Ball, but this time
Levi's old drag name.
I
it's
know,
gonna
stupid plain Jane from Drag Race stole my drag name.
oh my gosh.
And she's not really a plain Jane, but like my drag persona so is plain Jane. So whatever. She's gonna listen to this and like send me a death threat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I almost said that, oh wait, you could be Lazy Susan, but then I forgot that that was what her like
That
on show drag daughter was called.
yeah, there's Lazy Susan, the newest winner of Australian.
Yeah, and there was another drag queen on Australia. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she just won Drag Race Down Under.
Oh wow, love.
So I believe that we have an announcement for next week's episode from Midwest Princess Maria.
Yeah. So, since it is a new year and we still have a lot of music to recap that was released in 2024, we're going to start with an album that has a name that is, I think, just a good thing to keep in mind as we go into a new year. Good thing to, stay present with. And it's going to be Dua Lipa's Radical Optimism, not to be
Ooh.
confused with Dua Lipa's Radical Floptimism.
Not that.
Not that.
Not that.
We're breaking her out of the Kia Asylum for one night only.
Yeah, we're breaking her out. I mean, hey, maybe Pop Girlies gives Radical Optimism a complete resurgence and then everyone appreciates it.
Should we start a hashtag? Hashtag buy Radical Optimism on iTunes.
Radical
She could just use streams. She honestly doesn't need money.
Well, no, but that's what all the like Brazilian stands always do. Like if they have
Oh,
like there was one recently, I think it was like buy it was like hashtag buy bedroom stories on iTunes. Like the 90s Madonna album.
Once, we've known that we will have made it once we have Pop Girlies Updates Brazil Twitter account.
we're getting there.
And
Yeah.
every tweet's in Portuguese.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to be radically optimistic about for 2025.
Our Brazil we I don't think has anybody ever listened to us in Brazil?
No, I don't think so.
Well, what if after this
We'll get
episode
there.
there's a Pop Girlies update Sweden?
I'm ready.
We're counting on that one person to start it.
Yeah, we know
That's what it takes is one person.
all it takes is one
I
person.
hope it's a
You
You know,
bot
there could be
so
100
bad.
people in a
There
room,
could be 100 people in a room.
and 99 of them don't believe in
Listen
you.
to Pop Girlies. And all it takes is one
Is one
person that
person.
listens to Pop Girlies.
And that could
And
change
that was
everything.
Bradley. And that was Bradley.
Oh my God. Okay. On that
All
note,
right.
everyone, I'm gonna go um be naked in Manhattan.
I'm gonna go waste my Friday night on a first date.
I'm gonna go have some red wine.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay, bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
Shanti.
What the? Wait. Oh God, I hate it when I make the Zoom screen smaller. Okay, bye, everyone. Officially
Bye.
now.